Hi BC, it's Rob here with another video, and this is a haul video, stuff I've picked up from a record fair a couple of weeks ago, and a few bits and pieces from car boot sale, and also I've got some Vclt to show at the end of the video. So I went to the record fair in Manchester. It was outside Manchester, one of the biggest ones in the northwest of England. Plenty of sellers. Plenty of vinyl, obviously, and they had those boxes of vinyl again that was sealed for a tenner. I mean, you could have got all the Beatles albums if you like, and real treasure trove of sealed vinyl. So what did I pick up? I picked this album up, Colour by Beck. And this came out in 2017, and it's on red vinyl. That's red. So I really like Beck. Don't really think he's done what you would class as a 10 out of 10 album. I think there's plenty of sort of 7s and 8s, and this is actually one of my favourite Beck albums. When you listen to this, you realise how many artists he's influenced, but you know, I can hear lots of different bands when I listen to this. I can hear a band called Everything from the UK, a band called Friendly Fires. Track 3, I'm So Free, reminds me of Weezer. Track 4 reminds me of Ben's Fall 5. There's a couple of really commercial tracks, Dreams and Up All Night, and they remind me of Maroon 5. I think this is Beck really trying to go for a sort of a commercial sounding album, and he succeeds. It's a good album. I liked his previous album as well, which was a lot folkier. But yeah, I mean, Beck's one of my favourite American artists, and I've been streaming this album for couple of years, but just never got around to picking it up. So when I saw it for a tenner, yeah, I saw Jeff Kempin give this a spin a couple of months ago, and he wasn't too sure about it, but I really like it. So yeah, please pick this up. Colours by Beck. Now, there's also sealed vinyl, 3 for a £5, you know, and there's some good stuff. So I'm going to show you this. Everything at Once by Travis. I really like that sleeve. And this is a gatefold. Like I say, sealed, less than £2. And this album came out in 2014. Don't know if you can see the Travis. Nice, nice label there. And you also get the lyrics. So, I mean, in the early 2000s, Travis were one of the biggest bands in the UK, sold arenas out and had some really big hit singles, huge selling albums. But they've kind of, last 10 years, they've kind of dropped off the radar a little bit. I mean, this came out in 2014, they released another album in 2016, I think. And they've been back touring, playing a lot of their old hits, but this is actually a really good album. You know, again, I've been streaming this over the years, and I never got around to picking it up. So when I saw it for a £5, I couldn't believe my luck. So yeah, pick that one up, Travis, and Everything at Once. Now, I've got a bit of a tactic when I go to record fairs, because I want to try and get as many bargains as possible. So what I tend to do is I go rooting around the cheap stuff. I don't really go to record fairs going looking for first editions and stuff like that. You know, my aim is to buy as much as possible for as little as possible. And I actually spent £90 at this record fair. I'm only showing probably about a third of what I bought. But I bought 18 albums. So I sort of divide that up, that every album cost a £5, so I'm quite happy with that. Now, when I got in there were boxes and boxes of albums for £2. So I picked up 5 of those. I'm going to show you a couple of the ones I picked up. I picked this one up, the Royal Scam by Steely Dan. This is in really good condition for £2. It's got the original in it with it, and it's on the ABC, and it's a really nice copy. I'm a big lover of Steely Dan. Richard McCook, great channel on the VC, king of the rankings I call him. He got some Vclt from James Griffiths, and he actually received this, and he wasn't too sure about it, but I've got most of Steely Dan's albums, but this is one that was missing. I don't go searching for Steely Dan, but when I see it I usually pick it up, and for £2, I mean, side 1 of this album is just it's gorgeous, so well produced, just everything about it, and yeah, only a couple of albums missing by Steely Dan. I mean, I got into Steely Dan in, I think it was '78 when FM came out, which was a film about an American radio station, and Ricky Don't Lose That Number, and you know, I kind of stumbled across them over the years, and probably about 25 years ago I really got into Steely Dan. So really pleased to pick this up, Royal Scam. Now, another album that was £2. I mean, I like looking, you know, when I'm looking through albums, and sometimes the sleeve catches my attention, and this one caught my attention. It's George Harrison and Dark Horse, and I didn't know that was George Harrison. I mean, I'm no Beatles connoisseur. So there's the gatefold, and that's actually George Harrison with Peter Sellers there. And yeah, turned it over, saw George Harrison. I mean, I haven't got any George Harrison albums. I'm only just getting into Paul McCartney. So this album came out in 1974, and it wasn't well received. But what do I think of it? I really like it. The first track, Harris on Tour Express, is an instrumental. I was listening to it, and I'm thinking, it reminds me of the Rockford Files, the old James Garner cop show, and it got me thinking about what were my favourite American cop shows. So just as a going off track a little bit, I had number 5 as the Rockford Files, number 4 Petrocelli, number 3 Kojak, number 2 Starsky and Hutch, and number 1 Columbo. So I don't know what you think of those 5, if you've got any I've forgotten about. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about the album. Really enjoyable, really enjoyed this. It's made me want to, I mean, if this is one of George Harrison's worst albums, then I want to hear the rest, because I really like this album. And like I say, when it came out, the critics really slammed it, but yeah, good album, enjoyed it. So yeah, George Harrison and Dark Horse. Now, at the Record Fair there was, and you know, there was countless sellers. Obviously, it's a huge event. People had come up from all over the UK, and there was a guy with boxes and boxes of albums for £2, and not for £2, sorry, for £5. And I picked this one up. Brilliant Corners and Creamy Stuff. So I spoke about the Brilliant Corners before. I went to see them about 5 times. Every time they toured I went to see them. There's the inner. Lead singer's called Davey Woodward, and just, if you ever see Brilliant Corners stuff and you're into kind of indie Smiths like, funny lyrics, intelligent lyrics, though, good songwriters, pick them up, because I really recommend the Brilliant Corners. About 1988, 89, when I was really into them, and they're just one of those bands that music in sort of the late 80s, before the Stone Roses sort of came onto the scene. You know, it was a lot of it was like Deacon Blue, who I quite liked, and it was kind of a little bit middle of the road. So there were some good sort of indie bands around. And we're into The Wedding Present and also The Brilliant Corners. So yeah, really pleased to pick this up. I had it on CD, but I'd never actually seen it on vinyl before. It's got a great sleeve as well. So yeah, creamy stuff by The Brilliant Corners. Now, the next album I'm going to show is an album that I think I bought it on the day it was released, but it's just disappeared. I haven't got it anymore, but it's one of my favourite albums of the 80s, and it's this one. And it's Our Favourite Shop by the Style Council, and there's Paul and Mick there. And this came out in '85. It was a #1 album. At the time, we just had Cafe Bleu came out in '84, and you know, there wasn't enough Paul Weller on that album. So when this came out, there was a lot of anticipation because you know, there was some really good singles coming out at the time. Shout to the Top and Walls Come Tumbling Down, and this album certainly didn't disappoint. There's a lot of tracks on here that could have been singles. Look, Man of Great Promise, Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's a real good mixture, and it's a great album. Like I say, it's certainly one of my favourite albums from, I think it was '85 when it came out. So yeah, really pleased to pick this up for a £5. Our Favourite Shop by the Style Council. Now, at the record fair, there's a guy called Gareth there who I met at a record fair a few months ago, and I've been to his shop, and he was there and he was having a good day, and I bought a few things from him, but I'm going to show this one. It's a House of Love, and this is just called the House of Love, I think. It's got a London Weekend TV sticker on it, which is a little bit strange. It's on Creation Records. And the House of Love were an indie band from the early 90s who I always thought they were around at the wrong time. It was kind of when grunge was really kicking in the UK. And these were really, I mean, I think they released 4 albums, but good songwriters. There's a song called Beatles of the Stones, which is a great song by these. And yeah, they're sort of an underrated British indie band, so really pleased to pick this up. House of Love. Now, just a few singles that I picked up at the car boot sale. I thought I'd show you these. The weather's not been great in the UK, and that always affects car boot sales, but picked these up last week, just a few quickies. Susie and the Banshees and Face to Face. And this is off Batman Returns. I mean, I'm not really into sort of that franchise superhero stuff. I didn't even know this existed, but 50p, Susie and the Banshees, I was all over that. And a couple of soul. There was a guy, and he had a case of records, and he was had a little bit of a chat with him, and he was selling all his old 45s. Walking in the Rain with the One I Love by Love Unlimited, and also Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and If You Don't Know Me By Now. I love that CBS. I think I've got a Mott the Hoople like that. I really like that. And also I picked an album up. I picked a few albums up, but this is the only one I've actually played. So I'm always on the lookout for jazz, but what I know about jazz you can write on a pinhead, and I don't really know what I'm looking for. I'm not in my comfort zone. I know John Coltrane and Miles Davis, but albums by them tend to be out of my price range. At car boot sales you don't really see them. But there was a guy there, and he had a big box of records, various quality, but he did have some jazz in there, and I picked this one up for £1. Feel Good with Good Music of Dr. Jazz, Volume 1. And I thought, well, it's Volume 1, I'll give it a try. And this was released in 1987, so it's on like the Dr. Jazz label, and it's in really good condition, and I really enjoyed this. There's a few artists that I know, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Benny Goodman, but a lot of the older artists I didn't have a clue about. I mean, that's it with jazz for me. Totally out of my comfort zone. I don't really know what I'm looking for. But when you find jazz, usually it's in pretty good condition, and yeah, it just makes me want to buy more jazz. I really like jazz. I know it sounds like a bit generic just to say I like jazz because there's so many kind of different facets to it, but yeah, I really enjoyed this anyway. Feel good with good music of Dr. Jazz. Now, I've got some Vclt to show. I've only ever had 2 lots of Vclt before. I got the White Album from Matt Hayes a couple of months ago, totally out of the blue. Unbelievably generous of Matt. And Randall Weaver won my contest, so we've had chats and emails, and we always comment on each other's videos. And I did make a fly comment about Pink Floyd, and Randy jumped on it, said he was going to send me a Pink Floyd album, so he stuck to his word. And this package arrived about a week ago, all the way from Nashville. And yes, so generous of Randy to you know, think of me and send something over to me. He really didn't have to do that. I mean, if you're not aware, I'm sure most people who watch my channel know who Randall Weaver is. Really into his psych, he's into his jazz as well, but he's into British music. He likes Paul Weller and Teenage Fan Club. You know, he's got great taste. There's a fanzine he sent me as well, and he did me a little note just saying, here's this Pink Floyd record, hope you enjoy it. And he's also enclosed a few stickers and coasters. Best wishes from Randy. So yeah, sent me some nice coasters. So every time I have a drink, I'll be thinking of Randy. And a few stickers here. Grimey's Records, and also another Music City Nashville coaster. Nice touch this, because it's all in a detail. Luna Record Shop. I love anything like this. And another sticker here. And Music City. I mean, I've never been to Nashville, I've never been to America, so to receive those from Randy was really generous. So, which Pink Floyd album did Randall send me? He sent me this one. Dark Side of the Moon, and when this came it was sealed. Sure most people know what it's like inside. This is a 30th anniversary edition, so it came with that, and it's got 3 posters with it as well. One of the posters is pretty amazing, this one. It's all about the triangles. So yeah, really nice poster. So I don't have any, well I do now, I didn't have any Pink Floyd albums. A few CDs, no sort of studio albums, just a few kind of compilations that I've picked up over the years. And you know, I know what, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure whether I'd actually heard Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon from back to front before, but I have now, and it's, I mean, that kind of prog, it's, you know, prog's not my thing, but it's I did enjoy it. Like I say, I do have some Pink Floyd CDs in it. I've got to be in the mood for it, but it does take you on a bit of a journey, and it is a bit of a masterpiece. I'm not denying that. Has it made me curious about Pink Floyd? I think it has, if I'm honest. It has made me a little bit more curious. I mean, I'd rather listen to Pink Floyd than Led Zeppelin any day of the week. So I think it was a good choice by Randy, and I'm so grateful to receive Dark Side of the Moon, and I'll be spinning it, and I've been streaming it as well. I've been listening to it. So yeah, getting into Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, it's a bit ironic really, 2 albums Vclt, the White Album and Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, they're probably two of the top 5 albums of all time, so all thanks to the VC. So I hope you've enjoyed this whole video. I've got a lot of other stuff to show, but I don't really want to be showing stuff until I've played it and can give you my thoughts on it. So more videos coming up in the next few weeks, obviously. I've got a contest that I want to enter as well, so I'll be posting another video shortly. So thanks for watching this video, thanks for subscribing. Any comments, I'll always get back to you. So that's it for me, bye for now.